A little bit of a walk. It'll take us about 10 minutes to get up there, but let's start going. It's kind of a bumpy road, though. Still like the bumpy? Oh, okay. Already stuck. I can jump I can hold the front while we get through. You sure? Yeah, this grass is super thick. We can go. Let's go. Oh, you're doing pretty good. I got a 9-month-old girl at home. Oh, yeah? Yeah. This is the first one? No, it's our 7th. 7? Yeah. Wow. You guys are way ahead of me. I've got 1.
Not a race, I don't think.
I heard it's to the finish, though. Race to the finish.
Yeah.
So are you guys all from all over parts of the world, and that's how you guys?
Yeah.
Yeah, from Malaysia.
Malaysia.
Ah.
Malaysia to Missouri.
Eminence.
Ah.
Midwest.
Midwest?
So why is your guys' group so much smaller than everybody else's group?
We don't know, but it's cool. Yeah. We'll ask you way more questions now.
Sounds good.
Hey, how are you?
Good. How are you?
So we've had the property now for 8 years. I don't know if you guys know a little bit about the history. But we've had it for 8 years now.
Indonesia, right?
And like what Josh was saying, is that we're a total reforestation
We'll talk to you later.
We're not a plantation site. Other than this. And what this on the left-hand side is what they're doing. We're planting trees in rows and stuff. Just to kind of educate the local landowners out here that there's another option to cattle. Because cattle has been such a big part of the culture here in Hawaii, that it's hard to break people of habits. You know, and so because it's such a big part of who Hawaii is as cattle and cowboys, we're trying to show them that there's another option. You know, and because our ultimate goal is to try and bring back the forest as healthy as it can. Not just on our property, but everywhere else. And we're trying to use our 3,000 acres that we have up here.
2,000 acres?
3,000.
3,000.
3,000 acres.
Okay.
As kind of a platform, if you must, for people to realize that it is available out there. It is possibility.
Is it true that it's owned by royal family of Hawaii?
The royal family of Hawaii?
Not-
It's with ties. So our family have ties. We come down from a bloodline called the Kamamalus.
Come on.
And the Kamamalus, this used to be there. So the Hawaiians break apart their property into ahupua'as.
Oh.
Watch out for this stick, okay?
Okay, thank you.
The ahupua'a system for the Hawaiians is where the Hawaiians would live on a particular area of land that it could be self-sustaining.
Oh.
And so you'd have a chief at each one of these ahupua'as. And this is where my family's ahupua'a actually was. This was in the middle of it. And it's kind of gone full circle. It's pretty cool.
Oh. I see.
So many different languages.
Yes.
Yeah. I was gonna say I don't know how you're gonna talk, and yeah, that's a lot. My ADHD would kick in.
Oh.
And
That's talking and walking. That's enough hard work for me.
right. On top of all the.
How do I not
excess
trip?
talking.
I have a hard time chewing gum and walking.
Right.
So your family own this?
Yes.
You born
So
here?
I was born on the other side of the island.
Oh,
But
I
yeah,
see.
so my family purchased this land 8 years ago, in
years
2010.
Okay.
Actually, the funny thing is March 1st, 2010. So we just celebrated 8 years
Oh my God.
Was that-
Happy anniversary.
5 days ago. Yeah.
Okay. Nice.
So as we're coming up, this is where we distill our oil. And that green building is our education center and little gift store. This first big pile of dirt, it looks like, is what we call spent chip. The reason we call it spent chip is because we've already extracted the oil out of it already. And what we're doing with this is, other than ground cover, because it gets very dusty up here, so we put it on the ground for ground cover, but we're also put it into mulches. There's a couple of companies that'll come up here and buy mulch, or buy it and put it in their mulches, and they call it Hawaiian dirt. pretty funny because if you go into the store and there's two mangoes, and one is a Mexican mango, or one is a Hawaiian mango, you're gonna spend 85 cents more for that Hawaiian mango. And so he's taking that business model one step further and saying, I got Hawaiian dirt for you. Exactly.
What oil did you get out of that? What is that?
That's the sandalwood oil.
Oh, it is.
So what we do with the sandalwood trees, you'll see it when we get up a little further, is we take trees that are only 50% alive or dead. So
Almost died.
yeah, we don't want to take any tree that is still a viable part of the forest. If we were here just for money, we would take everything out.
Yes, yes.
But we're not here. We're sustainable. We want to be around for a long, long, long time.
Yes, yes.
At least I do. My daughter definitely wants it, and maybe her kids one day want it.
Exactly.
We don't have any lives. No, I'm just kidding. Yes, of course. So what you have here, because this area was pretty foresty, pretty hard hit with the previous owner as far as harvesting. And before our property came on, the thought of sandalwood was such an afterthought. They thought there was no money in it. It was sold by the pound because they just couldn't get it in the numbers, because a lot of people have no idea what a sandalwood tree even looks like. And so the koa, which is this big tree, is what everybody thought of as the cash crop, because it's very, very expensive. Koa, K-O-A. Go into any art store, any jewelry store, they're gonna have koa in there. And koa is, they make tables with it. So my cousin, which is out here, and he's taking off the dead koa that's on the ground. What's it? Wood, yeah, hardwood.
Hardwood.
And so with the koa, they make tables and stuff like that with it. And the like a koa table, a full koa table that sits 6 people, will sell anywhere between $10,000 and $14,000.
Wow.
So you've got one board foot, which is 12 inches by 12 inches by 1 inch, can fetch a price of up to $30 a board foot. And so everybody would come in and they'd cut down every other tree and plant these koa trees. And this is kind of one of the hard parts of where it was. But if you look, I'm trying to see if we can find one from here. Right on the other side of this hill, there's like 50 sandalwood trees, but they're all little. So we take out a tree that is dead or dying, and the way they classify that is that if the canopy is 50% of its tree or less is intact, we'll harvest that tree. If it's got 50% or less of its bark intact, or its cambium layers exposed, we'll harvest that tree as well. Because we don't want to take a tree that is still viable to the forest, making seeds and a part of the forest. But what we want to do is make sure that we take out the tree before the roots have died. Because the sandalwood tree is semi-parasitic, meaning it can't fix its own nitrogen. And so it needs a buddy, or it needs a host tree. And the host trees that we use are legumes. And so you know what a legume is? Like a soybean. Anything with a soybean on it is a legume. So these koa trees are legumes. They have a big seed pod on them. They're not seeding right now, unfortunately, so you can't really see it. But this is a good host tree for them. The mamani, which is this little green tree in the back here, is the small leaf. You see the small leaf is kind of like a bush more than anything. And there's about 4 or 5 other native Hawaiian trees that we use as host trees. And so when we take out the root ball of one of these dying trees, if it's still alive, the roots are still alive. When we take out the root ball, and the roots have already attached to their host, so we get copicing, or suckering growing off of them. And for every tree that we get off, the most we've got is 42 little trees off of one. But we get the average is about 15 to 20. But we know that Darwin isn't going to allow all of them to survive. Only the strong are going to survive. But we want to give them as much of a head start as possible. So we haven't touched a tree on our 3,000 acres now for about 2.5 years.
Wow.
And because there's a lot of trees still here that still fit our criteria for harvesting, but we would do more damage than good trying to get that tree extracted out of the forest. So like what Josh was saying is that we've currently managed over 300,000 acres or 30,000 acres, and that's all the way to the forest over here. We have 3,000 acres here, and our neighbors saw what we're doing over here and was all like, I want that. How do I get that?
We experience that a lot with Young Living.
Yeah, you guys have done an amazing jobs with helping out some amazing companies, and we're very grateful that You know, I think our current contract with you guys have been going out for 4 years, and the contract goes until 2022.
Wow. 2020. Okay, 2020.
So we got another 4 years, and
Okay.
hopefully they'll continue on.
Whatever.
But yeah, so people look at us and it's like, how do we do that? And so they hired us to go in there and do the reforestation parts of it. And so what we're doing there is the same thing. We're building big fire breaks because there's 3 big, huge factors that kind of hurt the sandalwood tree. One is this huyu grass. You see that real thick grass? And it's over here too. I mean, it's everywhere. That was brought in for the cattle, for feed. But the biggest thing is it's a blanket and it doesn't allow the young trees to come through. You know, it's so thick, and in some places it's up to your waist as far as you're walking through. The only way to combat it is by pulling it by hand, which is not going to happen, or fight it with shade. And so what we're trying to do here is trying to take back the property. You know, a lot of people's goals out there is to try and get it to be pre-human contact, and that's impossible. You can't do that anymore. It's like, you know, Avatar. It's unattainable.
Right.
You know, so what we're trying to do is pre-cattle contact. Take it back 150, 200 years and get it to the state where it was before, you know, because we're not going to be able to stop the little birds from spreading seeds. We're not going to be able, the wind blows and blows a bush up here. You know, it's going to be hard to combat that. Combat that. But with the grass, we can combat that, and we can hopefully get a lot of new trees coming up. And another one is the rat problem. That's going to be an issue no matter. Rodent problem. Because the seed for the sandalwood tree is, it's like a mini macadamia. It's got a little flesh. They want it a lot. And so in this dryland forest, there isn't much for them to eat out here, other than the seeds off the plant. And the sandalwood tree is like their Snickers bar. You know, they're in love with it. So that's a big one. And then the other one is the ungulate problem, or the cattle problem.
Wait, so what do you do about the rodents? Like when you plant them?
There's the only thing that
Spray?
we can do is bring in snakes and mongooses. No. So what we have to do is collect the seeds prior to them being eaten. And so that's where a big part of our job out here is to walk through the forest during seeding season and collect the seeds and grow it in our seed house here. And then I'll plant them when they've already grown. About 3 or 4 years ago, we came out here and we kind of put the carriage before the horse. You know, and we didn't really protect our forest before we planted these new trees. And I mean by protect the forest is we didn't have fences up. We don't raise cattle. We don't raise horses, so we shouldn't need fences. It's the other people's concern to keep their animals in their property, and they just have it. And so what we have to do, we've spent over, I want to say $3.5 million in fences. And now we're at a point where we have no ungulates on it. We've got a couple of sheep.
You have no what?
Ungulates. So ungulates are split hoof animals or hoofed animals, large animals. So your cattle, your horses, sheep, pigs, goats, all
Things
of those
I should have learned in 3rd grade? All right.
You probably learned that in 3rd grade. The word ungulate probably never came up. So you're good to go.
Anything that chews its cud is an ungulate.
There you go. See that smart guy?
Sweet education.
The funny thing is I had to eat a teaspoon of pepper this morning because I thought it was all split-toed hooves. And my younger brother's all like, no, horses are in. I was like, no, it's not. I was like, I bet you a teaspoon of pepper. So I ate a spoon of pepper this morning because there's
You're feeling good today.
Oh yeah. So there's a bunch of different types of ungulates. Just subs underneath each ungulate. So like ungulate is a big umbrella, and there's a bunch of different kinds underneath it.
Okay.
But so now that we've got the ungulates under control and we have the fences up, now is our way to try and combat the grass with shade and by planting in seedlings, because now those seedlings will have a better chance of growing into trees. But let's continue on. Let's go get to the oil. So when the trees come from, this is a little different than probably, if you guys have been to other food land farms, if you guys have been to other Young Living farms, you guys have been more to just the operation side of it and then get to see the back side of it. Didn't get to see how, so this is a real raw feeling of what this project does. And so what we do is we bring in the logs from the field. They come out over here, that one's. They come out over here, we put them into that debarker. And it's the loudest machine in all of the land, I swear. And it just spins and it debarks the trees. And then from there we take it up to the chipper. Yep. Then we take it up to the chipper on the hill. We'll chip them. Then we take them to the granulator, and then we put them into the oil. But we'll just do that little circle here. So let's, I'm gonna introduce you guys to the brains behind the operation here.
The brains?
The brains.
Okay.
The first guy
The first guy?
The first guy is the guy walking away from us. That's Ryan. He's got to come back. He's got to go say hello to his dogs. But these are our boys up here. Like this is the machine inside the Ford. You know, or inside the Dodge. Like this is our engine.
Okay.
So the first guy here is Paul. Is Peter, big scary guy. He bites real hard. But he is in charge of the landing here. So when the logs come here, he is in charge to get it ready for the stills.
Okay.
The guy to the right with the hat down there, that's Paul.
Hi, Paul.
Paul is in charge of harvesting the trees. He's in charge of what trees to take out of the woods. He's in charge of no, yes, no. He's the guy that takes those trees out. The guy to the right is Jonah. Jonah is with Peter, and he's part of the crew that's on top of the landing here. He makes sure that the product that goes into the stills is where it needs to be. And this guy over here is Ryan Okimoto, and he works with Paul in the field as well. So he goes out and gets the logs and brings them back here so that Peter and Jonah can take it one step further and get it ready for the stills.
Okay.
But here at Hawaiian, we're very, very family oriented. I mean, that kid I've known since what, 9 years old?
Oh.
He's been a really good friend from the family for now, what, 25 years now? Peter and Paul are both from Molokai. Paul is married to my first cousin. So he's married to my first cousin, lives not even 2 minutes from me. Peter is Paul's cousin from Molokai, and known my mom and my dad, since forever. And Jonah, he's just a new guy. No, Jonah
better find a wife.
Jonah and Ryan have been childhood friends forever. You know, because it takes a special person to come up here and work up here. They live up here Monday through Thursday. And you can't just have anybody off the street come and hang out with you for 4 days. You know, you need somebody that you can trust, that you can rely on. And these guys, they got that family oriented going through strong. Very, very, very family oriented. You guys have anything to say? He's not scary, trust me. He's super, super nice. But if you look at these trees, so these are the 3 different types of logs that we get from the woods. So this far one on the right-hand side is the deadwood. And that has been out there dead, has been standing on and completely dead. This is called a root ball. And so this is what we take most of the oil out. But if you see, there's rocks in it. And if you look at the very center of the trunk, you see how the rot has already started in? You see this area? Fungus has already started to come in, and this tree is dead already. But it's are dying.
Is that how you know?
So we know by having a part of the bark will be exposed, and will allow little pinpoints where fungus can get in. The tree itself can protect itself quite a bit because the oil is antifungal, right? And it's antimicrobial. So it'll stop it from going in. But if there's a large area, it can't. It's just gonna lose that battle. It can't fight that strong. And then this is our mixed logs that we get. So this, if you guys want, you guys come and you guys, whoa! Smell this. You guys can smell it. You guys will be able to smell it. If you smell the heartwood part of it.
Kelly asked Justin.
Justin, why is it not Royal Hawaiian Sandalwood anymore then? Why is it just Sandalwood?
That's a different oil.
Why is that different?
You guys don't sell our Royal Hawaiian Sandalwood.
Not anymore.
You guys put it in blends.
Yeah.
So because you guys the US market is so large and the demand is so big, they couldn't keep up with it. Because we're a zero waste company here, we have to put a cap on how much oil we give to Young Living.
Wow.
To be sustainable for one part, we can't go out there and be like, okay, you guys want 300 kilos? Here's your 300 kilos. Right. We have to be able to be sustainable. And we're a zero waste company, meaning that we have a lot of byproducts. So you see that pile of the sawdust that was over there, the spent chip that we talked about? So we only can give away about as much as we make now. Not give away, sell as much as we can make now. And we also make this thing called Hydrosol. And Hydrosol is because we steam distill our oil out of the wood. So the Hydrosol is the water that we use through it. And it's got a lot of properties in it. And we just did a bunch of studies on it. And it's actually a Series 2 antimicrobial, which means you can do anything with it other than inject it.
Wow.
I don't know why that's injected, but inject it.
But you can take it internally.
You can take it internally.
Yeah,
it's got a pH level about the same as vinegar. So it doesn't rot, it doesn't grow any funguses in it itself. And it'll kill staph in less than 2 days. You know, and so people are talking about using it as hand sanitizers and cleaning systems. And so we're actually going to Amsterdam in April to try and sell this product. Why isn't Young Living using it? You guys talk to them.
Yeah, they will. I'm
We
sure.
tried,
Really?
but there's so much growth in Young Living. You guys are expanding so much. We'll talk to one person, and then
Yeah, you get
5 months later we'll have somebody else. and
Okay,
5
so
months later.
explain to me one more time. So this is sandalwood.
This is a sandalwood tree, correct?
But why, I still don't, so Royal Hawaiian Sandalwood is a different tree?
No. We only produce Royal Hawaiian Sandalwood. The sandalwood that you guys are purchasing with Young Living, that is just sandalwood or sacred
The
sandalwood,
sacred sandalwood.
is not from Hawaii.
He's
It's not from our
right.
farm.
Okay.
So we have infused products.
But so this is Royal Hawaiian
This is Royal
Sandalwood.
Hawaiian
We're
Sandalwood.
just not bottling it and putting it in Royal Hawaiian Sandalwood bottles anymore. We're just using that to add to blend.
Because it's limited
Yeah,
area.
I
So
get that.
different parts, different Young Living markets, like Young Living Australia, because they're a little smaller and they can't get the same amount of oil, they can purchase the RHS.
Yeah.
That's what I was told.
But this is Royal Hawaiian
This is
Sandalwood.
Royal Hawaiian
That's
Sandalwood.
what I was trying to understand.
Inside our
Okay.
education center, you'll be able to purchase Royal Hawaiian Sandalwood oil.
Oh yes! Thank you. Thank you.
But, so we'll go down here. We'll go down to the granulator here.
In my country, I have it.
The smell?
In my country, it's yes.
Okay, so you're
So nice.
What's that?
Okay, where are you from?
Have you smelled?
Oh, do you know Yanni?
Yanni Banana is your beautiful.
Yes, I know her. I'm friends with her. She's three of you would be here to say hello. So I'm Kelly. I'm and I met Yanni years ago. Oh, this
Ma'am, foto ininya, ma'am. Foto itunya tuh, ininya.
Oh yeah.
Wow. Ini banget.
So you smell that smoke?
Yes.
That's the sandalwood that we burn. So it's kind of a loose incense.
Ini dibakar jadi kalau
Yeah.
wangi banget.
They buy a lot of it. That's the biggest thing.
Yeah, the biggest thing.
The funny thing is, we get people that teach elementary school that'll burn.
Alright?
Yeah, when kids first come in from recesses and stuff.
To calm them
So
down.
calm them down. Exactly. So it diffuses and stuff. They'll put in our oil and everything.
The big log over there, they make it smaller.
Yep.
And then like this to make it like this, or
Yep. So what we do is from those logs, once we get them debarked, because we want to take off as much bark as we can, because the bark will actually turn it red. You know, in the Hindu religion, they have the red dot. That's sandalwood. And so that's how they get that red color. So if you were to leave the bark on it, it would stay red. And so what we do is we get there from there and we get through the chipper. And this is the size of the chips that it comes out to.
Oh, okay.
But this is too big for us to get the oil out of it. We want more surface area. And so the more surface area we get, the more water and the more the distillation can impact through the chips, and we can draw out as much oil as possible. And so the happy medium we found is this. So this is our chips that we put into our distill. So this, you guys can smell that. There's a lot of oil in there. And so,
Okay.
what's that? Yeah.
Alright.
Sandalwood.
I'm gonna explain to you.
Yeah.
Okay, first you break into this
Yeah.
about big, and then
Then we get to it. So what we found is the 11 millimeter mark is our best size that we can get it to. It's got enough that size.
11 mm.
11 mm. Because if it gets any smaller than that, we get this, and this is a byproduct of dust.
That looks like sawdust.
Yes.
I mean,
So this is basically the sawdust inside of it, and so we can't put that inside of our distill because it'll expand too much. And when it expands too much, the pressure inside their volume it'll be too high, and you're just making a bomb. And also, because it's starting to chill and it'll go through our pipes and everything, it'll clog in there and it'll just be a huge
That
mess.
was my thought. So it's too
So
small. And
it's
it
too
clogs
small.
in.
The expansion rate is too big and it clogs up. So that's what we use. So if you guys put your hand inside there, you can smell it. So this product, this machine right here, was brought up. So James is our engineer here on the island. James over here is the engineer on the island. And you know how we're all family? That's my dad's high school classmate.
Oh my god.
We brought him back from Oregon. He was living in Oregon at the time. We came down and we're like, hey,
Hawaii.
we need your love back over here. You know, and because we got so many different characteristics up here, so many different characters up here that we need to be able to work together. And we've got 5 OGs, I think. Peter, James, Paul. Peter, Paul, James, Ryan.
Yeah, Mary, we're all.
Yeah. But they've been here since the beginning. And then we've hired on some other people that it's like, we call it a 1 in 10. One guy in 10 will last 3 months. And then of those, 1 in like 20 will last a year. It's just because it's a hard life. And because you're up here a lot, you're away from your family for 4 days out of the week. It takes a little bit of time.
But all of you live on the island?
All of us live on the island.
Yeah.
We had to import this guy from Oregon, like I was saying. So he came down, brought his wife back home from Oregon. These guys, we had to bring them in.
I'm sure she was real sad.
You're probably related to our regional president of the Pacific.
Yeah?
He's from this area.
Oh, yeah?
His name is Ty Tobin. You look like his cousin.
Thai
Tolman.
Yeah.
Tolman.
Yeah.
He must be a good-looking guy then.
What do you think? Is he gonna be
I'm not so negative.
But so this, what you guys are smelling right here, is our dust that we sell, and you can make loose incense with it, and that's what that smell is. And like what the gentleman over here was saying, it's not a very powerful smell. It's not a I smell it. It's a real nice, calming smell, and it actually, I was telling him that kids, I don't know if it's an Afro, but elementary school teachers will put it in when the kids are coming in from elementary school, recess, coming first thing after school, chill out. They don't want to play it after lunch because then everybody falls asleep. But after recess, before school, that's what they're burning inside their classrooms. And they've seen a lot. But from here, we'll go talk to Uncle John, literally my uncle. He's married to my mom's sister. And Andre.
I'm so in love with all of that. Like, total family.
But James, what made that? So I'm going to have to talk soon because these machines are real big. This is my mom's sister. And this guy.
Oh my God.
This is Paulie Boy's son.
Oh my God.
We got little. Say how's it, everybody? He's got eyelashes like crazy
I know,
for
I was
days.
like, he's so pretty.
But
Oh, sorry.
Hey, good job.
Auntie Iris is married to my mom's sister. This is her husband, Uncle John. Uncle John and Andre are oil experts. They're in charge of running this beat right here. So these are the 5 torts that we make our oil out of. So on the other side of this wall, there's 2 boilers. And we boil the water to 100 degrees centigrade, making steam. It comes through the pipes, it goes to the bottom of these torts. And as it's going through, it hits pressure. So it can get a little warmer. And as the pressure is going through, it bonds with the oil in that 11 millimeter chip. And then from there, that oil and the steam come through the top. See that pipe coming out the top? Comes down the side, and then that tube on the side is a condenser. It's got cold water in there, and it's basically like a radiator. It's got a little bit of heat through it. And what that does is it cools it down. When it cools it down, it sits it in that, you see that little silo thing looking on the left-hand side? It stores it there until it gets colder. And just like everywhere else, oil sits on water. And so then we sit there, and those tubes on the top, we skim the oil off the top. And we put it in there. But Andre comes to my high school since 8th grade. So it's very, very close knit. But we'll walk through this way. Just be careful not to touch anything. Because it is glass, it is going to be a little warm.
Okay.
And we don't want anything to break.
Okay. Oh, that one?
Yeah. So this is oil. So this is the oil that we get out of it.
Okay.
So this tube, this is where it sits if the water is boiling up. And so with this lever, we are allowed to control how much water is getting put in here. And this tube connects to this tube, and we collect the oil off of that. So you can see if I put this lever up, the level of oil goes up as well. If I put this down, the level of oil goes down. But what that allows us is just allow just enough oil to get through so we can collect it. So when we collect it, it's still cloudy. Like, I don't know if you guys have seen a Hawaiian Sandalwood oil for a little while, but it's not this cloudy. It's very clear. From here, we have to take it into our facility back there, and we put it in a bath of 40-degree water for 72 hours. And what that allows it to do, we keep it at 40-degree centigrade because there's two properties in there that we cannot lose. It's the alpha xanthanol and the beta xanthanol, and that's where its big antimicrobial properties come from. Beta xanthanol boils off at 50-degree centigrade. So we could put it at 60 degrees and it would clear in a day, but we would lose a lot of those properties that we need to keep. And so we keep it at 40, we let it sit for 72 hours, and then we store it in our stainless steel vats before we send it to Young Living or wherever else around the world. So this process can take up to 20 to 26 hours. And this is the oil that we get off of it.
One day?
This is our one-day oil. So they're still got to collect a lot of oil. So they've got probably 4 or 5 more bottles that will come off of this run.
So out of one like round, how much do you get?
So each torque holds about 300 kilos of chip, depending on how wet it is. 300 kilos. So if it's mixed logs, which is a relatively light, there's still a lot of water in it. So it'll be heavier. So we get about 260 kilos of that kind of logs in there. But the dead logs, we can get about 300. I mean, or the other way around. We can only put, 260 because the volume is so much more because of the water. But when it's dry, we can compact it and we can get up to 300. But
Does that mean that it's almost better the more dead the tree is?
it's just opposite. The longer the tree is dead, the more oil will naturally evaporate into the atmosphere.
Okay.
So we'll lose that. But so we get about 2% of oil for every kilo of what we saw. 300 kilos, 2%. We get about 6 kilos per torque. So that's our yield of oil.
Okay.
So there's only about for every 100 pounds of chips, we only get 2 pounds of oil.
What do you do with the water?
The water is the Hydrosol, and so that's what we sell it at. So like, we'll try and bring this lever up high enough. I don't want to put water in here, so we'll try and... Oh, wrong way. There's too much oil. So the Hydrosol is this. So that is the water that's underneath here. There's too much. You'd be able to see it, but it was just too much oil in this. But that Hydrosol, that's the antimicrobial. That's where we've got the bioscreening, and it's got a very, very lovely smell to it. People use it as a toner. They spray it on their skins. All of that's got a little more inside here as well. But we'll go inside the education center now. Yeah.
That's what I was thinking.
But yeah, we just got the payment back from bioscreening, proving that and it's huge. Now we can go to wherever it's like, this is what we've done.
Scientific proof, like
Let me go in here real quick. So I can't get you guys all inside here, but... Oh, we kind of come in here.
Oh, okay.
it's amazing.
So, yeah. Let me bring it in here. So this is the bath that I was talking about inside here.
Okay.
So this is the bath that's held at 40 degrees centigrade. 40 degrees centigrade for 72 hours. So we sit in there for 72 hours. And if you guys can peek over, you can see the clarity. And that is our finished product. From there?
Oh, dia
No,
warm
I don't wanna go
kan?
in there.
Oh, for titik dia.
Oh yeah. This is my mom. That's my mom, Lillian.
Hi.
This guy right here, Uncle Sean, he's one of our salesmen. He's my dad's college buddy. And his wife, Auntie Melissa. But yeah, if you guys want to look at the oil, so that's the finished product.
哦，这就是已经完成了最终的产品。
Will you turn it around? Yeah, right. Yeah, like that. We're not seeing it.
Yeah, 72 hours. 72 hours, and then we put it in those stainless steel vats over there. So from the vat, we bottle it, we set it to... Yeah, so there's a water bath. Yeah, the water bath. So we don't want the water to go back inside, so we put it inside there. And so the water, we keep the water at 40 degrees centigrade because we don't want to have a whole room at 40 degrees centigrade. So we put the water inside so the water bottle stays at 40 degrees centigrade. The water bath that's inside of it stays at 40 degrees centigrade.
So it makes the color from cloudy color to
Because the
clear color.
cloudiness means that there's a little bit of water suspended in it. And that little bit of water that cloudies it gets evaporated off.
That's the purpose of that.
Yeah. Yesterday we closed everything up and we left the bath on. And we just kind of spaced it. All of the windows were fogged because everything else was. Oh, we probably should do this.
Okay, wait, but so why, like on other farms, they use refrigerant. Is 40 degrees centigrade just too cold for a fridge, or?
40 degrees centigrade is really warm.
Oh, it is.
It's right below, so boiling is at 100 degrees centigrade for water. So the beta cycle boils off at 50 degrees centigrade.
Right. Okay. I just was like, why not a refrigerator? But now it makes sense.
The refrigerator is what we store everything in afterwards.
Later. Okay.
Yeah, so everything in here is for sale. So this is the little shop. So if you look around, there's salves, there's soap. So everything is made with the Royal Hawaiian Sandalwood oil in it. So there's coconut oil that we mix with it. There's Royal Hawaiian Sandalwood over here that's for sale. And then they mix credit cards and everything like that. So the people in here that you guys need to talk to, if you guys want to talk to about getting products and stuff like that, is my mom Lillian. My mom's brother, Uncle Gil. I can't call her Auntie Bonnie anymore. When you're little, everybody is Auntie and Uncle. This is Bonnie. She's been with us since Colorado. What is that? 25 years ago now. But yeah, so this is our store, and all of the koa products over there, the wood products, that's all from the property as well. All the resalvaged wood.
从那个提炼中心里面把它提炼出来的。
Where's the hydrosol?
The hydrosol is going to be over here. So there's two types of hydrosol. There's this hydrosol. So this is that bioscreening stuff that I was talking about. That it meets the exceeds. Yep. So this is the hydrosol in the spray, and then it's got that hydrosol has a little bit of lavender in it as well.
From that water?
Yep. From that water to here. You can test it too if you want to spray it. There's the white one is the with the lavender, and the brown one is with just hydrosol.
Put that on your hands for antimicrobial.
Oh, I love the smell. So nice. Alright. Pakai apa ya? Tapi dari kayu dia udah wangi banget ya. Oh, masa kita datang kali pertama dia bagi yang itu dust tuh percuma bawa balik. Tapi sebenarnya dijual. Tapi dia bagi, tapi tak tahu bagaimana.
Hydrosol, it kills coli. This is where they did a test on it, and these were the levels of bacteria, and after 28 days, all gone.
Oh, this one.
Yeah, hydrosol, yeah.
Bang, ambil gambar bang. Can be the LB cans. Wow. Less than 10 days.
This is 28 days.
28 days.